You know, when everybody else has spoken and you are closing the stage, you can't just come by yourself, right? So our final team of tonight is Premier Care, and we have Dr. Stephen Ojwang and Dr. Louis Machogu. A round of applause to them. Thank you.
A few weeks ago, Jane felt some excruciating pain on her lower abdomen. She was 31 weeks pregnant, 4 hours away from her preferred hospital in the main city, that is Nairobi, and she didn't know what to do. It was in the middle of the night, and immediately she went to the hospital that was near her, the closest hospital, whereby the doctor quickly realized that she needed to have a scan done. She was quickly sent to our facility, and we were able to evacuate her within less than 30 minutes. And subsequently, we discovered that she had high blood pressure. The baby was at risk, but to make it even worse, there was a clot in her left leg, and she was at risk of joining the 7,000 women who die every year because of pregnancy-related complications.
Ideally, Jane's journey would have required her to take an 8-hour return trip to a preferred hospital. Thank you. Ideally, Jane's journey would have required her to take an 8-hour return trip to a preferred hospital, had then Premier Care been there. So what that meant is she would have needed 2 working days away from her workplace. Not just for her, but for 2 other caregivers, because she's in a critical state. And when the time came for her medication, her life-saving medication, she would have had to contend with the fact that over 30% of the medicines are counterfeits. And the people serving her at a local pharmacy might not even be qualified.
My name is Dr. Stephen Ojwang. I'm the CEO and founder of Premier Care Hospital Group.
Dr. Louis, I'm the COO and co-founder for Premier Care.
Now, Jane's issue represents a problem that underlies many people in Africa. In fact, 80% of the population within this region have to travel for more than 2 hours to be able to access quality healthcare they can trust. And that is a tragedy, because even when they get it, they are not sure that it is the right medication and the right form of treatment. To make it even worse, like the case for Jane, she would have had to go to 4 different hospitals. The first one was the medical clinic that she went to. The second one was Premier Care, where she came and we diagnosed the clot. The third one was her preferred hospital, where she should have been admitted. And the fourth one was the pharmacy at home, because the cost of care was not within reach. The challenge with that is that in between, there's a lot of lives lost. There's a lot of money lost. Money that is spent on logistics that could have been used better to save lives, to provide for her family. And you can imagine in Africa, we usually travel with our relatives. Yes, it's empathetic, but you can imagine taking 4 people away from their regular job. It's a big tragedy. And that is why Premier Care is here, to provide a solution to just that.
This surgery show must still go on, even if the mics fail. So, over 70% of Kenyans prefer the community pharmacy as the first point of call for any healthcare that they need. And that's where our unique hub and spoke referral model comes in. So we have pharmacies embedded in the communities where Jen and 40 million other Kenyans live, where they'll be able to get quality medicines from professionals. Next, we're able to refer them to an outpatient light. What does an outpatient light have? An outpatient light has a doctor, a nurse, a basic lab, a basic pharmacy, and an ultrasound. If more services are needed, we refer them to an outpatient plus clinic. Here, they'll be able to find imagery, specialized imagery like X-ray, CT scan, and soon MRI, as well as specialist lab. Now, at the hub of all this is a specialist hospital. And in our case, it's where actually Jen went to get surgery and a bed for an overnight review with a doctor.
And to add on to that, Ernest has talked about technology. So we're relying strongly on technology to be able to harness this solution, harness as much productivity as possible and reduce that pain that is taken in terms of accessing healthcare. So you can imagine no one follows up on you in case you have been treated in hospital. But what Premier Care is doing is that using technology, we are then able to enhance feedback mechanisms to be able to transform the healthcare industry in our country. So far, we have 2 hubs that we have established in 2 counties, and through the hubs that Dr. Louis has talked about, we've been able to transform many lives within the region. The healthcare industry in Kenya is growing quite rapidly. In fact, in the last financial year, over $4 billion was spent on healthcare alone. And the industry has been growing rapidly at a rate of over 10% for the last 5 years. And it is in this space that Premier Care is is leading the role, especially in the peri-urban satellite areas and transport corridors, where 80% of people live. They can afford to pay for the service, but they don't have access for it. Premier Care is here to make sure that we replicate that tried and tested model throughout the country.
Our competitive advantage lies in our comprehensive healthcare model. The unique hub and spoke model ensures that we bring community pharmacies right and where the patients are, so cutting that access barrier. So we are able to have our pharmacies speaking to our outpatient facilities and our inpatient hospitals. And as they do that, we're able to have cost efficiencies and making that care available to those who need it without having to pay dearly with their lives.
So how did we start our journey? We've been at it for 7 years, and we've been growing at an annual rate of between 15 and 30%, and that has been because of increased efficiencies. And we've been sharpening the axe so that then we're able to transform the lives of many more people. Initially, we started at a revenue of $70,000, and last year we were just shy of $1 million. And the best news is yet to come.
So why should this multi-million-dollar 3-year journey matter to Jane and 40 million other Kenyans in these peri-urban areas? This is why. We are adding 1 specialist hospital. Actually, see our landlord there, Mr. Omar, for that unit. We are adding 6 outpatient facilities, 21 pharmacies, embedded right where Jane and the other peri-urbanites actually live. By 2026, we will have 350 employees that we will have hired and discipled to be able to transform those, to be transformational leaders right where in those communities that we have set them up. Essentially, they'll be following us as we follow Christ. Yeah?
Amen.
Together, we will serve 1 million clients in 2026, taking us to a revenue of $12 million.
The growth is about to escalate. We are about to cascade the growth. We will leverage on our tried and tested model and a readily available market to be able to achieve this.
So we have a highly competent team with complementary skills. Dr. Steve here has been able to build systems and structure for the largest hospital group, the Aga Khan in Kenya. I was able to build a chain of pharmacies from 1 pharmacy, bootstrapping it, scaling it, and having a successful exit in 2016 when it was the largest chain of pharmacies in Kenya with 52 pharmacies. I also serve Kenyans as the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya. What does that mean? I'm able to understand the trade aspects and the practice aspect in the pharmacy sector to be able to bring in that aspect in here. We also have Dr. Mamelo, who sits in our advisory board. Dr. Mamelo has been able to set up inpatient hospitals in both Kenya and our neighboring country of Uganda.
To be able to make this dream happen and to cascade the model through the country and beyond, we are looking for an initial ask for phase 1 project, which is $3.7 million. And this will enable us to transform many lives We will invest that in system strengthening, building our marketing platform, as well as the infrastructure of the hub and spoke model that will transform the many lives that, like Jane, that need our desperate service.
So Steve and I and our team is here. We're asking, if not now, then when?
When?
If not us, then? Thank you.
Welcome to the Premier Care family. We welcome you to be part of us so that we may transform the lives of Jane and millions other Kenyans, over 40 million, who are in underserved peri-urban communities and are yearning for an excellent service so that Kenya might catch up with the rest of the world even as we seek to serve the SDG goal number 3, which is to provide health and wellness to the populations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's that time. It's that time too? No Q&A.
All right, he said it. So any questions? All right, we have a question right here. Thank you.
Hi, Doc. That was my classmate.
Hi guys, that was a fantastic presentation and I can see what you've done for the country. I can attest to what you have been able to do. I think maybe if you had more time, you'd highlight the millions of lives you've impacted. Perhaps maybe for the audience, you could highlight what you do personally to make sure that the problem of counterfeit drugs is tackled, because it's a huge problem and it also impacts what you're able to do for millions of people across the country.
Oh, thanks. And you need to listen intently because I want you to join us in that fight. Yeah. So I mean, when I left university, worked in a far-flung place. What we used to see, I was working in a hospital pharmacy. If you Google Samburu, it's right in the middle of Kenya, remote. So I was working there in a hospital, and I would see patients come to us. Like I said, their first point of call was where? At the pharmacy in their community. So they've been taking hypertensive medicines for 3 years, 6 years. We never coming back for a review. Yeah? Guys are just making a quick buck on the other side, on there. So they're coming back, we're amputating their legs. Yeah? Their eyes are going out. And that's now in 2007 is when I built I think what became the largest chain of pharmacy by 2016. Starting with one pharmacy, serving those patients, because I saw that opportunity. I went right into the community to serve them. But while I was there, the challenge was, I don't want to be a quack. A quack is not a duck. A quack is a unprofessional person. Yeah? I don't want to do things that are beyond my scope. So I want to be able to refer them to Dr. Steve with an imaging, radiology, outpatient. So I saw that gap, and it's actually why I'm here today, to be able to sell this vision. And as we are strengthening the systems because one of the things that we've embedded there is system strengthening, ensuring that the patient gets their record, travels with it, and travels back, and ensuring then we take responsibility for the outcome. Because the issue is someone is giving you counterfeit, but they don't take responsibility. So we want to take responsibility for that outcome and say, this medicine, with the level of premier care, it's from us. And with the technology platform, we're able to interface right from the patient, can carry their record to Dr. Ojwang, they come back, and so on. Yeah. So that's the work we're currently doing in our history. Thank you. So join us on that journey. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a few questions. One of them is, how many employees do you have currently? And then how many jobs will be created if you do get the ask that you're asking for? As well as, what does your discipleship look like for your employees?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very key question because it's actually very close to our hearts. So we look at our employees or staff as leaders. So far we have 50 in the various branches. And within the next 3 years, we intend to scale that, to increase that to 350. We are adding 300 more. And the model is that it's discipleship, one-on-one discipleship on a very well thought out platform. And amongst our team, we have coaches. Dr. Lou is one of our coaches. We have turned ourselves into coaches. Our directors are seated behind there. We are all coaching the teams and then using that model to cascade the platform so that its impact, the same way Christ started with the 3 disciples, and then who in the inner circle was able to inform get the 12 disciples, and through that, they were able to cascade that, that movement, as it were, to transform the whole world, just starting from 3 disciples, Peter, James, and John. So we're using that model strongly, and we have our partners like Kat, who've also we've been working the journey with, to be able to achieve that. The other thing which is very important and close to heart is because when you employ one person in Africa, we say you've employed a whole village, because each of these 350 within the next 3 years are going to now have a ripple effect, because it is income to the different families, systems are strengthened internally, and they are the ones who are now going to take us to the next phase, because this is just phase one of our project. The other question was as regards...
You've already answered.
Oh, we've answered. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here.
All right. Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Mine is on affordability for your patients. How are you planning to handle that? We know the cost of healthcare can be way out of most of our residents' reach. So how are you planning to tackle that for your sustainability?
Yeah. Okay. The average cost of healthcare per household per capita is about 8,000 shillings. If you per year. So if you in Kenya, so if you do the math, if someone was paying for social health insurance, it's just about slightly over $4 per month. So if you multiply that by 12, it's actually cheaper to register for the social health insurance that will enable you to, patients like Jane, to get the whole spectrum of services at a registered hospital. And we are NHIF registered. It's one of the our key partners. So that will transform a nation, because yes, it can be easy to see it as a private hospital and say, okay, let the cash payers come. It is a good thing, but which one will have bigger impact? So we're encouraging people to register. In fact, as we speak, our team is out encouraging people to register. Okay, not now at night. But we're encouraging very many people to register on NHIF, because the coverage is about 19% only, compared to, let's say, the West, where it's over 90% social health insurance. So we need to change that narrative for the country. And Premier Care is leading the way. So we are asking you to join us. Let's encourage people. If you have a relative who doesn't have NHIF, encourage them to plug in, because healthcare has been shown to have, it has the potential, like Anne said, to take 3 million people into poverty just by one admission. So that is what we're here to transform.
Yeah, and our cost efficiencies that we've weaved in the pharmacy, inpatient and outpatient, mean that now we're able to bring those costs down, especially when cost of medication. We know you're coming back, so we're stocking it right in time. You know, we have you in our system. It's digitally enabled so that we anticipate you and plan. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Unless there's one final burning question. All right, that's the last one.
Thank you for sharing. That was a very, very inspirational presentation. Just something that came to mind from the story you mentioned, being your past experience in healthcare and pharmaceutical, and your ask, yeah? What if, I've been in manufacturing for a few years as well, and the Kenyan space is marred by credit lines. It's good and bad. But what if you negotiated with the largest pharmaceutical distributors for 180-day credit lines, and then you worked with, based on the discipleship model, pharmacists who've been in industry for 10 years, and you used the money to guarantee their goodwill and their setup costs? You could triple the number of pharmacies with the same ask, and then work out a profit or revenue share, so that you grow your impact but increase your footprint at the same capital point. So just a suggestion.
I need to know this guy's name. Are you reading our business plan?
No.
Do you know anyone from...
No.
But essentially, it's what you're saying. The pharmacists in this country, I serve them as their president in the Pharmacy Society of Kenya. I've served them diligently, and they actually know me. And those are some of the things that I mentor young pharmacists. I use our own resources to be able to do that. So you're spot on. So thanks for that. Thanks, brother.
Right. A round of applause to Premier Care. That was a powerful closing. Thank you very much.